Look, being honest with women changed my life. It allowed me to develop massive confidence in dating, have an abundance of experiences and opportunities, and finally find my ideal girlfriend and start a healthy relationship with her. And I'm making this video because I've worked with many successful guys in their business that still have trouble being truly honest with women, and they miss out on massive advantages that this has. So I'm going to go into some stories and into some lessons, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to relate to these and start being more honest with women and know how to proceed. What are the actual practical steps to start developing this habit? So I'll start with a story that goes back to my teenage years. And this is a story that is actually quite repetitive. It happened a few times, which was that a girl that I had some sort of friendship with through school or through some sport, something like that. We were having a friendship, and I liked that girl. She was incredibly attractive, and I didn't really think that she would like me back. So I just quote unquote played it safe, was never really honest and direct with my intentions. And the time went on, and after some months, she started dating some other guy. And after some more months, since we kept on the friendship, she told me that she was surprised that, nothing happened between us because back then she liked me. And every time this happened, and it happened two, three, four times, it kind of blew my mind, and it made me feel a very frustrated feeling, like I had missed out on an opportunity. And this, okay, I'm talking about my teenage years, but this applies to dating as an adult as well, because I've seen so many guys miss incredible opportunities with women that were literally in their circle because they didn't have the courage and they didn't have the habit of being honest with their intentions. So they just kind of played it safe, being a bit indirect. And then that woman actually thought that the guy wasn't interested. So the first reason that being honest changed my life, and I'll go into some stories on how it actually changed my life, is that it allowed me to start taking advantage of many opportunities and never feel that feeling of literal frustration, not with the woman, not with anyone else, but with myself because of that missed opportunity. Now, the second story is actually the second date that I went on with a woman that I approached on the street. This was actually in Barcelona, and it was a French girl, super cute. Her name was Obeline. It was um, very unique name. So I met her in some square, and we spoke for 5 minutes. Good connection, and then I got her contact, and finally we agreed on a date. And she was actually not living in Barcelona. She lived in some town nearby. So she had to take the bus for 1 hour to come see me. So there was obviously interest. We went to grab a smoothie, we sat on a bench, and that was it. We sat on a bench and talked for 2 hours. And in those 2 hours, all I had in my mind is I feel attraction for this woman and I want to take things forward. I want to have some physical contact, maybe end up in a moment where we have a kiss. But I wasn't even able to give her a true man to woman compliment, a direct compliment that signified to her that, hey, this guy actually likes me. And what happened after those 2 hours is that we got up from the bench. I took her back to the bus station. She took the bus, and we never saw each other again. I tried writing her, but she was obviously not interested. I'm imagining that in her mind was like I took a bus for 1 hour. The guy was just in his head, didn't do anything to move things forward. I'm not even sure if he likes me or I like him. So I'm just going to end things. And again, this was a recurring theme in my dating life, which was I had great opportunities, but I was missing out on them because I had some kind of blockage that wasn't allowing me to be honest with women, just saying what is in my mind. The girl actually, and many times the same happens with many successful guys, the girl actually likes you already. The woman that you're seeing, the woman that you met through some social circle, the woman that you approached, if you had the courage to do so, is already open to meeting a guy like you. But you're putting the brakes on your car by not being honest, by not saying what's in your mind. And you're not allowing that woman to understand that there's interest from your side and that you want to move things forward. So I had these recurring themes in my dating, and obviously that propelled me to improving this area. I kept developing my cold approach skills. I kept trying to learn things, and many of the things I was learning were going to be against honesty. So I was having some kind of like structure in my head on how to speak to the women and some pickup lines and some seduction tactics. And that was creating more and more of a character and more of a facade. And I kept hitting my head against the wall. I got some results, but it was all so troublesome, so hard. I had to put in so much effort in my dating. And then one day, because I was testing many different things, I said, you know what? I'm going to be truly honest from the first moment that I meet a woman. I'm going to be truly direct from the first moment that I meet a woman. So when I was doing cold approach, when I saw a woman attractive in the street, in a mall, anywhere, instead of trying to go and have some pickup line, instead of trying to do some situational opener talking about the street, the weather, her opinion about something, I straight up said, hey, my name is Armin. I think you're beautiful. What is your name? Do you want to meet? And that was it. That was my pickup line, my opening line. And I was literally mind blown by the results. The results on the reactions of the women, much more open, much more understanding of what I was doing, of my intentions, and also the feeling in myself. So, look, I had all this weight in my shoulders because I had in my mind many filters and many things like, oh, okay, I'm not going to say this because I'm not sure if she likes me. I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that tactic. And all of this was creating a huge weight in my shoulders. And once I said, screw it. I'm just going to say what's in my mind. I'm going to remove the filter between my thoughts and my words. Of course, still being respectful. The feelings I had was of massive freedom and much more fun. I started having incredible fun in my interactions. And I took it a step further, which was that not only in that initial interaction, I was being honest and being direct with my intentions, and it was very clear to the woman what I wanted from her and if she wanted to be with me. But also with some blockages that I had during dating. So I told you that in that second date that I got through a cold approach, I had some trouble with the physical contact, creating an environment where this could be had. Like, it's a natural thing if a woman and a man like each other that there's physical contact, but for me there was some kind of blockage. And I've actually worked with many successful guys in their business, amazing finances, that still have some trouble with this. So do not think that if you have this, you're alone in this, or this is something childish. No, this is something that some people have some blockage. You have to solve it, and then you feel free. So anyway, in my case, I remember a certain experience. This was while going out at night to a club in Barcelona. Opium was called. We used to go out with some friends, again, without drinking, without doing anything crazy. We just wanted to go out there and talk to women. That was our objective, okay? So I was with a friend and we spoke to two girls, and we sat down with them and we started speaking with them for 5-10 minutes. And I started feeling this feeling again of, I want to have some physical contact. I want to move things forward, but I feel a bit of a blockage. Maybe I'm a bit afraid. I don't know how to do it, maybe. And so instead of just keeping that in myself, in my head, what I did was like, you know what? I'm just going to apply honesty here as well. I'm just going to put no filter between what I think and what I say. And I told the girl straight up. And she was younger than me. She was, I think, 19 or 18, and I was at that time 21. And I told her, like, look, I would like to have physical contact with you. I like you, but I feel some kind of blockage that is not allowing me to do it. Maybe it's some fear, maybe it's some past trauma. I don't know. And maybe this sounds weird, but I just wanted to communicate it to you to feel a bit more free. And this might sound incredibly weird to you, like, you actually said that to a girl? And the answer is yes, I did. And her reaction, again, was incredible. She was super understanding. She said, oh, that's okay. I feel that too sometimes. I'm so glad that you're honest. I'm so glad that you're direct. And she actually said, hey, let's go to the dance floor. Let's dance a bit. So she started leading a bit of the interaction to bridge that gap in physical contact. And I'm not saying that this is the ideal relationship dynamic where you have this blockage and the girl is helping you solve it for the long term. I'm not saying that. Look, if you're a confident guy, if you're somebody who knows what you want and have developed all these qualities in yourself already, obviously that's better for the woman. The woman wants someone confident, not someone that she has to lead around constantly. That's totally clear. But my point is that the way that you become confident with that, the way that I have become confident in my physical contact and the way that I found my ideal girlfriend, and that wasn't a problem with her, was by going through these experiences and actually being honest. If at that moment where I had that blockage, I didn't say anything and I just sat there, did nothing, and the interaction ended, I would still have that blockage today. And if you don't believe me, look around. There's many guys who are 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, they go and they go into their tomb, into a cemetery. They lived their whole lives with that blockage. They never solved it. This is very common. And maybe they never stumbled across this advice. That's why, in a way, it's great that you did if you have this blockage, because now you know how to go about solving it. So just to end the story that I was talking about, this girl with the physical contact, we ended up having an amazing connection. She came back to my place and we had, again, an amazing experience. We didn't end up sleeping together, but just not to go into many details, the interaction ended amazingly. So the point is, even if we're talking about finding your ideal girlfriend, maybe you think, okay, Armin, but I'm not looking into going into clubs and just dancing with random women and taking them home and maybe not seeing them again. Look, cool, I get it. But this leads me to my first point, which is that you can use dating and cold approach as a tool for your self development. So there are certain qualities that, as a man, you need to develop to have healthy relationships with your ideal woman. And you can use dating and cold approach as a way to start checking those boxes. Okay, so I have great physical contact. I can do it in a natural way, in a way that the woman is comfortable. Great. I'm able to cold approach and break the ice and strike up a conversation and be smooth in my conversations, know what to say naturally. Great. Another check. I'm able to create attraction and create comfort and do this and that. So you can use it as a tool to develop yourself. And you can develop yourself only through honesty. If you develop yourself through a facade, you're not developing yourself. You're developing that facade. And that's what was happening to me when I was following all these pickup lines and techniques and structures. And look, those got me into action. I'm going to be grateful for them anyways, because it's better to start approaching women with some facade than not to approach them at all. At least you're taking action, of course. But there's a better way to do things, and that is with honesty. Now, the second is the mirror law, which is that what you do what you feel, what you say is going to be reflected onto the woman, and she's going to give you the same. So if you want an honest partner, if you want to share your life with somebody, that a woman that is honest with you, that doesn't lie to you, that doesn't go around your back, then start by being honest yourself. And this is incredibly powerful. Like, it actually works. As I was saying in that interaction that I had, when I just shared what was in my mind without any filter, the woman reflected that back on me. And I even had many other experiences where I shared some sexual insecurity that I had with a woman when we were in bed. And then she reflected that back on me. She shared something as well. And we started feeling more comfortable. So again, this can be applied to any part of the dating process. It's an incredible thing. And it's something that you can start applying to feel more free, feel better with yourself, and make the woman more comfortable, because she's actually getting to meet you, not a facade, not some tense and blocked person, but the actual you, with your vulnerabilities, with your insecurities, with what's in your mind. And again, this doesn't mean that you're this person forever. That wasn't part of my identity forever, the fact that I had trouble having physical contact, or that I had trouble being direct with a woman, saying what's in my mind. No, it's something that you develop, and okay, that's it. We move forward. That's not something that you take the power away of the insecurity once you just say it out loud, and you see that nothing happens, that you're still alive. Cool, you have trouble with physical contact, you say that, and you're still alive, nothing happened. Nobody came and did something bad to you. You're fine. And again, going back to the mirror law, when you start developing the habit of being honest from the first moment, and the first moment, if you cold approach a woman, is actually saying why you're there. Hey, I find you attractive and I wanted to come up and talk to you, instead of some pickup line. That becomes an ingrained habit. So that becomes something that you start doing again and again from the first moment, dating that woman, and then in a relationship. So when the woman does something that bothers you in a relationship or in the beginning stages of the relationship, instead of just, keeping quiet, thinking it to yourself, breaking your head, and then maybe quote unquote punishing her by not giving so much attention. I've heard this a lot. Instead of doing all of that, you become an honest man. And you just say that. You just say, hey, that thing that you did there actually bothered me. And let's talk about it. And this, again, is super powerful, because then the woman starts reflecting back that honesty to you. If there's some issue or if there's some trouble, she's not thinking, okay, well, it's not worth it to continue things with this guy. No, she thinks, you know what? I'm actually going to say to him, like he said to me. And that creates a dynamic where you're actually building the relationship together. Because there's never going to be a 100% fit where everything, absolutely everything without any detail, is perfect in terms of fit with you and your ideal woman. Even if she's your ideal woman, you still have to work on the relationship, and that's fine. There's just some things that you have to clarify. And this is the problem with many relationships, and also the problem with many men that try to get into a great healthy relationship, is that they don't have the habit of being honest. So then they think that, I never find a woman that is truly what I want. Well, you actually have to speak and create that ideal relationship. It's not going to fall on your lap. Yes, you need to have a very high fit in terms of that the woman has certain values and the woman has certain mentality that is aligned with you, but that doesn't mean that there's not going to be details that you have to iron out. And just communicate it. Instead of trying to fight it, instead of trying to keep it in your head, just say it out loud and see how that improves the relationship massively. And look, many times, by you saying the things that bother you in that relationship or beginning stages, let's say when you're dating a woman, you've had 1, 2, 3 dates. When you start saying things that maybe bother you, Many guys think, oh, well, this is going to turn the woman off. I'd rather keep it to myself. But what they don't realize is that it signals to the woman your interest in taking her seriously. So for a woman that you're not going to take seriously, for a woman that you would just want for a one night stand, you wouldn't even bother trying to talk about issues with the way that you guys date because you don't care about her, you don't want to see her again. And some women, when you do not communicate, that's what they think. They think, oh, well, this guy doesn't take me seriously. This guy hasn't said anything that he likes or dislikes about me. I feel that he doesn't take me really seriously. And when you start being honest, you start saying things that bother you here and there without becoming into some OCD maniac talking about every single detail, but just things that actually bother you. The woman sees, oh well, he actually cares about me. Oh well, he actually is interested in trying to build this relationship. That's why he says this. If he didn't, it means he doesn't care. So again, this is another point where I was saying at the beginning of this video, a woman liked me. I didn't say anything. I wasn't being honest. The woman took it as a sign of non-interest. The woman moved on. And this is a story that repeats over and over again in the lives of many successful guys because they haven't developed the habit of being honest. So how do you actually go on about developing this habit? Well, just as I told you in my stories, when you start developing the ability to cold approach and you do it in the correct way, the way that I show, the way that I have done in the past, you do it being direct. So you get used to giving a compliment and saying why you are there meeting the woman. You start developing that habit. And then you also develop the habit to just say whatever is in your mind. The way that I said, look, I have some trouble having physical contact with that woman in the club in Barcelona. Well, you do the same with your things that go through your mind. Maybe you think, okay, I don't know what to say in this moment. I feel like I'm in blank. And instead of just sitting there or trying to talk about something that you do not care about, you just say it out loud. I've said this as well. Look, I don't know what to say now. I'm kind of in blank. And maybe the girl laughs and thinks that it's hilarious that you said that, and then you start having a conversation. And then okay, I'm never afraid of running out of things to say because I know that I can always say, I've run out of things to say. That's another example. And like these, all the blockages that you might have, you can just say them out loud to the woman. And there's a certain nurturing aspect of women that men really underestimate, which is that when they see a man who's honest and who's sharing a vulnerability of his, they feel a sense of nurturing, of saying, hey, well, I actually find this super cute. And again, I'm not saying that you have to do this until the day that you die. No, 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 no. Once you develop those qualities, you don't say it anymore. I haven't said it with my girlfriend. When I met her, I didn't have any insecurity really. I just went through the process and we had a great connection. We started dating and I was honest in all the situations that I had to be honest. But my point is that do not think that because you're sharing some vulnerability, it means that you're always going to have to do this and you're always going to have this vulnerability and you have to have this type of dynamic where the woman is nurturing and something like that. No, it doesn't mean any of that. It just means that you can, if you have that insecurity or vulnerability, the best way to develop it and actually like get it out of your system is to say it out loud. So do that. Those are the two tips. There's many more reasons and many more lessons in being honest with women that are super powerful. I will share them in another video. But I hoped that these stories and these examples and these lessons helped you understand the importance of being honest with women and gave you a framework to start being honest with women and developing this habit to create more options, develop yourself, your confidence, your qualities as a man in dating, and finally, find your ideal girlfriend for a healthier relationship. So, if you would like help with this and to do it in person without relying on dating apps or social media, then you have a way to contact me on the description of this video. It's been a pleasure being here with you, and I'll see you in the next video.